But let me just say something to you quickly, because tomorrow is my wife's birthday, and she's special to me, obviously. See, a lot of people are very consumed by trying to marry the right person. We are a generation who is really upside down in many things, but one of them has to do with, like, once they marry the person, then they wonder, did I marry the right person? Did I make the right choice? And I know what those things imply, but let me just say this to you. I don't believe I married the right person. I believe the person I chose has made me the right person. She has helped me to grow and to really, again, just embrace what manhood is supposed to be. So today we're talking about men. And one of the things that I want to say to you, because, see, again, tomorrow's her birthday. And I married this lady 17 years ago. And after 3 kids and a lot of experiences, I just came to the conclusion that ladies, as they grow older, they grow beautiful. Like I look at my wife, and I've never said this to her, so please don't say this, okay? But I've never said this. If I would have known, I would have waited to marry you later. She looks stunning now. Like she looks more beautiful. But anyways, you don't believe me, right? Well, this is what I chose 17 years ago. Now, I'm literally emphasizing the word choices because we have a generation of men and women who keep on saying, well, God is going to send me. Or God sent me. And I know what that implies and means, but there's such a fine line because the same people who are waiting on the Lord to send them somebody are the same people who are just messing around with a bunch of other folks. Are you tracking on that? It's like, I thought you were waiting on the Lord. Well, yeah, I'm waiting, but in the meantime, I'm just doing some little, quote-unquote, research on that. And then the same people who approach this marriage thing by saying, God sent me, then suddenly it's all gone. And the marriage dissolves. And I'm like, so where is this God sent you thingy? Well, it's all gone. But anyways, so 17 years ago, God allowed us to come together and make choices. Obviously, we chose each other. And obviously there is the element of divine intervention because I do believe God, puts things together, but at the end of the day, I think there are choices that we make at the same time. So it is the both and versus the either or of the equation. Now, here's what I want to think for a second. This is where we're going for the next few minutes. As beautiful as this picture is, because she is here, and I have hair. So those combinations, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you think with me for a second, what really accentuates and just magnifies the beauty of a picture or portrait, it's the frame. Because what happens with the frame, and even though this is not the nicest of frames, 17 years ago we were broke, so that's all we could afford. We're still broke, but it's just now we're experience broke. If you think about the frame, what it does, it takes something beautiful and protects it. It gives it a sense of again, just the parameters, that these parameters exist to protect the picture. Because the picture is beautiful, obviously. It's the memory of an event that is transcendent for us. That I believe the impact of this decision 17 years ago has shaped my life and will continue to shape the lives of others, specifically my kids. See, this frame, what it does also, again, it creates protection. Because you and I know if the picture is without a frame, and if you move from multiple locations as we have moved throughout our 17 years of marriage, this thing get really messed up, right? They will get torn, they will get scratches, and when the kids were little, if the picture was left in the hands of my little kids when they were little, they probably will draw mustache on their faces or do something to them. See, frames, what they do, they give you the ability through the things, the little hooks in the back to hang the picture and gives a purpose, because the purpose is for this to be hanged or to be placed, in a specific meaningful place. See, today I want you to think with me. Fathers, men in particular, whether you are a father or you will eventually, more than likely, become a father. I believe fathers are frames. I believe the family, I believe the beauty of just this union, which is a divine experience, a divine covenant that we have talked over and over again, is framed by men throughout history. So whether you are raising young men, little men at home, whether you have raised and now they're grown-up men, whether you see maybe grandchildren or great-grandchildren come into the picture, I want you to listen to the scriptures today with the mindset that men were created to do what frames do to pictures. Again, they protect. They take that responsibility that nothing scratches the family, that it gives it purpose, that I believe today as we look into the scriptures, men are destiny. We have the ability to shape lives into even beyond the grave. So now, why this is important, and I want to take a few minutes just to think, to ask you to think with me for a second on this issue. Before I left to Belarus, the week prior to leaving to Belarus, I walked into a house with a couple who are in their, I would say, late 60s, mid to late 60s. And this couple, specifically the man, has been in multiple, I would say 2 or 3 of our outreaches that we have done. And he will come to the outreaches, whether it was Easter, whether it was a fall festival, whatever it was within the last year and a half since I've been here. So I met him in the parking lot, and every time he came, he brought his grandchildren. Again, that concept of framework, right? Just nurturing the family. And he came and he introduced himself. And right after he introduced himself, I started getting more contacts with him and realized that through that, emails and phone calls, both of them, him and his wife, were ill, pretty ill. And they were in and out from the hospital constantly. And I had the privilege to walk into the hospital rooms several times with both of them. Sometimes it was both of them at the same time. Sometimes it was him driving her, and vice versa. She will drive him to the hospital, and it was a back and forth deal. So the week that I left, Tuesday, before I left to Belarus, I walked into their house, and for the first time, I got a chance to sit down with them in their home instead of the hospital. So it's been a long journey for them. And we had this beautiful conversation. We just engaged into this whole journey and this whole scenario of what life has been for them. And then we're just sharing the beautiful experiences. And then they said this to me. They said, on Monday, now this is Tuesday, I'm leaving Thursday, Monday, she has to go to San Antonio and get some transplants. Between kidney transplants and some lung treatment and some things in there. I prayed with them, I blessed them, and I just asked the Lord to heal her, because she was the most critical. I'm in Belarus. By midweek, Wednesday or Thursday, I got an email. And she passed away. So I look at the email, and I'm about to go and witness to some people in some houses in Russia. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, this is not good. Because my first reaction was him. Because, see, I prayed before I left for healing, right? Didn't I pray for healing? How many of you know that God answers prayer? Because she got healed. See, when you die, you get healed. See, nobody's following me this morning. Come on, listen to me. When you die, if you're ill, you get healed. I will even argue this point. When you die, you're fully alive for the first time. So one thing that I've said on funerals over and over again is the fact that we are not in the land of the living moving into the land of the dying. We are currently, right now, in the land of the dying moving into the land of the living. That's if you have put your faith in Jesus Christ, obviously. And this wonderful family they had. So anyway, so I looked at the email, and it just created this sense of urgency in me and said, I gotta share this gospel message. I gotta go and really with a passion to know that number one, prayers are answered all the time because she got healed. Number two is that a lot of these people that we talk to in Belarus and people that you talk to on a daily basis, and some of you are sitting right now and listening to this and you think that you have the time to really make some decisions. And I'm just telling you, I don't think you do. I think you think you have the time, but And the reason why I don't believe you do is not because you're going to die today, which I'm hoping you don't, because I don't have any plans to do funerals this week. Although I'll do it if you want me to, but I'm hoping you don't. Because once I'm in Belarus, I got another phone call of a pastor friend of mine that I worked with within the last 4 years, and he also died. I come back, and I'm here sitting in this office, and I'm going through my first week back in Belarus, and Ermelie is going to be with the Lord. So I want you to hear this from me for a second. Okay, so 3 just back-to-back experiences of folks going up to get healed. Because they're all healed, right? Just healed. They're healed. Come on. You pray for healing. Didn't you pray for healing? You weren't just that specific. You got to make sure that you pray, God, please heal her before the graveside. Because after the graveside, you still get healed. So you got to make up your mind when you want the healing to perform. In this sense, in this context of mourning, because I'm just thinking about people who have dealt with in the last 2 weeks, just losing a loved one, losing somebody so dear to them. It is exactly the same tone, the same context that Jesus speaks to the disciples in the upper room. This is the night Jesus was betrayed. Now, the irony of the story, as you know, because this is John chapter 14, is that they are celebrating something with great joy and great significance in their lives. It's called the Passover. The 10th plague back in Exodus that actually created the freedom into the promised land. So isn't that kind of a portray of actually life for us? Is the joy of just amazing things that God continues to do in life, and yet the sense of confusion that these men have in that intimacy of the upper room as Jesus is about to partake the Lord's Supper. Now, one thing that I want to just leave clear before you, because as we talk about these few verses for the next few minutes, I want to make sure that we understand this, and this is why we are in this place. I showed you this picture some weeks ago. It was actually week number 10 of the book of Hebrews, in the series of Hebrews. We did 17 weeks, so that was a while back. And through this picture, which if you've been in church long enough, you remember the story of David and Goliath. Specifically and particularly on a Sunday like this, my concern is like never before, talking and bringing the issue of manhood. Most men, religious, non-religious, Christians, non-Christians, see themselves, love to see themselves as David. The warrior, the conqueror, the whatever is in front of me, I'll take it down for you, baby. I'm the protector of the family, so if my children ever get in trouble, I'm here to do this. See, the gospel message is exactly the opposite. I told you on week 10 of Hebrews that most preachers will say, and you've heard this sermon before, maybe some of you have even taught this lesson in this way, to say, you are David. If you really have faith or enough faith, you can conquer any Goliath. Have you heard that story before? Have you heard that message before? I don't think that's the gospel. I believe the gospel is specifically for men, for all of us, and again, as you are raising new baby boys, and as you're dealing with teenagers, or maybe, maybe adults who behave like teenagers, I don't know, whatever the case may be, on this issue, you gotta begin the conversation saying that we are not David. Who's David in the story? Jesus is David. Because Jesus is the only one that can conquer sin and death. Right? Jesus alone. See, the issue for the Church of Christ is that we embrace that theological statement that Jesus can conquer death and has conquered death. And when we look at this partaking of the elements, we do remember that it was his brokenness that actually produced life. But the problem is that for whatever reason, we have moved from a theological concept, a doctrine that transformed the lives of men and women, we shift that only to an intellectual approach. So what happens is, especially men, I'm just talking about men, we embrace this theologically, we just do not connect the dots to how we do life. So this morning I just want to remind you that Jesus is David. Obviously Satan is Goliath. You cannot take down Goliath unless Jesus is in you. But this is who and I actually are as men. We are the people of Israel, frightened, just trembling and confused. Again, I want to just say this to you guys. The passages that we're going to read now, they are given and explained and spoken by Jesus in the context of the same context for this man in warfare. Frightened, confused, about to give up. Nobody wants to go and face Goliath. That's men today. Now, most men don't admit that because otherwise they wouldn't be the men, right? We keep on thinking that we're David, but we're not. I believe that we're going to actually become, once again, the frame of this beautiful picture called the family. You have to begin this morning saying, Jesus is David, so there's nothing I can do unless Jesus shows up. Yes, ma'am? Come on, man. Unless Jesus shows up, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you can be a great guy, you can be extremely smart, extremely successful, extremely whatever, but you are nothing unless Jesus shows up.